If you look at your body, that is a result in your life. Would you agree? And the decisions you made in order to get that body um, came from your belief system. Working out or not working out came from that. So you've heard this before. Your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions lead to your results. Yes? I think if you're in personal development and you haven't heard that, then welcome to some of the core fundamental teachings. But what a lot of times people don't talk about is the thoughts are formed with beliefs. So let's define what a belief is. A belief is a feeling of certainty. It's a reference that you had. It's a conclusion that you made about something. I believe making $100,000 is easy or hard. I believe that social media is a pain in the ass or it's a gift from God. I believe that working out is crucial to my existence. I believe that miracle mornings or having a morning routine is really going to change the quality of my day. You follow me so far? They're not true or false. They're not right or wrong. They're just useful or not useful, or maybe a better term is they are empowering or disempowering. So I start to think about, because I get asked a lot, Rock, how do you have 35 streams of income? How do you get yourself to take action on a consistent basis? You are intense, you're a competitor, you're into stuff, you seem to have an enormous amount of drive. And I thought back to some of the character traits of successful people, and I want to go over 4 of them with you today. 4 of them with you today. How many? How many? Come on, let's have some participation today. You got your cup of tea, your coffee, you're rocking and rolling. Let's get some engagement, okay? So I want to go over 4 of them with you today. And as I go over them, what I suggest you do is you start thinking about, where did your beliefs come from for these character traits, okay? And are they useful or not? And I'll give you an example. So the first one is, on one end of the spectrum is you're timid. And on the other end of the spectrum, thank you, Alan Murray, for always participating, and Dave McMara, is somebody that's bold. And this is part of your identity. It's how you see yourself, yes? So scale yourself, and there's no right or wrong, there's no judgment. It's just, you are this way, you were born that way. Now, if I interview some people like this and I ask, why are you timid, etc., they might give me some feedback and tell me that, for instance, Canadians are very polite, and apparently we apologize and we're sorry for things. So we might be a little bit more timid as a general rule. When I started in real estate and I started to get really good at listing properties, my mentor came to me and he goes, Rock, one of the things I encourage you to do is not to be a secret agent. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, the great agents, if you notice, they'll walk the hallways and they'll talk about the new products that they have. Hey, John, I just listed a 4-bedroom property with a double-car garage. I was wondering if you have a buyer. And sometimes it would result in a sale, but sometimes it was the muscle of promoting the product, getting in the habit of talking about it, getting comfortable with it, demonstrating that you're interested and curious. So would you agree with me that highly successful people, and we teach this in our wealth files, highly successful people are comfortable with promoting their product or service? Yes or yes? 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 They're comfortable with promoting. And people that are struggling are not comfortable with promoting. Now, the question, just to come full circle, is, where does the belief, the feeling of certainty, or the references come from that indicate that somebody is not going to promote their product or service? So let's break that down. Is it possible that somewhere along the path you learned that talking to strangers is dangerous? Yes? When you go to school, make sure you don't talk to any strangers. Now this becomes a conclusion, a belief, and a behavior results from it that stops you from doing what needs to be done to promote your product or service. Is that possible? Right? It may not be useful, but it may be true to you. So when I was this secret agent, and my mentor encouraged me to move my identity, my character, my behavior from timid and meek and shy to bold, I had to take on some new behavior. I had to look at it and say, is this going to be helpful for me? And I had to overcome the beliefs that I'm bothering people, that I'm selfish, that I'm in it for me, and then so I had to work at giving it new meaning. I had to think, my client expects me to talk about their product. I'm serving them at the highest possible level. I'm doing an injustice if a client, an agent in my office has a client and I'm not telling them about it. So, would it behoove you to maybe look at the conclusions and beliefs you have around timid or bold, around promoter or not promoter, and ramp that up? And I'll give you another full circle example as I talk about the 35 streams of income that I have. And many of those incomes come from promoting other people's products. When I started GoBundance 8 years ago, many of the people that joined and enrolled because I talked nonstop about this mastermind I was part of. Does that make sense? So, what are you willing to do right now about building an identity where you are thinking like a successful person, behaving like a wealthy person, and being bold by promoting your product or service, anything that you believe in? And the example that I like to give is if you had the cure for cancer and somebody had cancer, would you be shy or timid about promoting it? Or would you just walk right across and say, hey, dude, try this? So whatever product or service you have, would it make sense that you become more bold, more brave, more courageous in promoting that product? Yes or yes. Then you can use my system from my book, The Power of Your Identity, to build your identity around that and start to promote, start to talk about, start to engage people in this. Stop being a secret agent of your system. Some of you tell me you have people that love M1. Your life has changed because of M1, yet you're a little bit timid in talking to people. Maybe you haven't learned good ways of sharing your personal success stories. That might be a way. Maybe you've done well with Airbnb and you should be promoting Mike Sjogren's course and encouraging other people that want to get into that area of your life. Maybe you saw a great movie or had a great meal and it would behoove you to share that with other people. Some of you have had great success taking Sherry's course or other courses within the community. Aaron Velke teaches about travel hacking. Some of you are doing great there. What if we are to be more bold and better promoters within our community and talk about the things that work and develop our muscle of being great promoters? Yes or yes? Cool. All right, let's go to number 2. Now, number 2 is very generic, but it's, do you live mostly in fear or are you very courageous? You may have heard me say this before. When I was young, I read a book by Vernon Howard, and he had one sentence in the book that changed my life. Do what you fear, and it will disappear. I'm going to say that again. Do what you fear, and it will disappear. Tony Robbins taught me that if you can't, you must. So I often develop this thing where if I'm not in the mood to do push-ups, I have to do 20 push-ups. Just drop and do them. So if the thought is like, God, I haven't worked out, I don't really feel like it, pops in my mind, drop and do it. Because if I continually take action when I don't feel like it, if I do the things I fear, I control myself versus being controlled by my thoughts. Does that make sense? If I can just for the heck of it, walk across the room and introduce myself to somebody, ask for the order, etc., be more courageous, then the chances are I'm going to have more success. Does that make sense? Successful people are people that are willing to act in spite of their fear, their doubt, and their worry. I'm going to say that again. Successful people are willing to act in spite of their fear, their doubt, or their worry. And it comes in alignment with what I talk about sometimes is say yes and figure it out later. Say yes and figure it out later. So how about developing a game with yourself where you can be somebody who takes more action? Because the more action you take, the more you're going to win or learn. And that's what this life is about. Getting results you want or learning. Both of them are wins. Thank you for all the hearts and thumbs up and everything. Great energy on the call today. Thank you so much. So act in spite of your fear, doubt, and worry. Yes, Jamie, right? Say yes to things. Say yes to things that are bigger than you. Get on the phone and call your suppliers and renegotiate right now. We teach you in your budgets to be maniacal with line by line going through them. And guys like Ken have had great success with doing that. And some other people, probably there's still some room for improvement. True or true? So what if, Daniel Spar, you are the type of person that can say yes to things, that is bold, that takes action in spite of fear, that is somebody that people can depend upon? What kind of identity, what kind of practices do you need to have to be seen as that person and behave that person? Well, maybe you need to tell people in your life that you want to take more action, that you want to be more bold, so that this community can hold you accountable to doing just that. I took a course called Warrior by T. Harv Eker, and it was 4 days about taking action in spite of fear, doubt, or worry. It was like all kinds of stuff. It was walking up mountains with no idea why we're doing it. It was we went into these sections where we were attacked and we had to defend ourselves. We had to run across a field without being tackled and beaten. I mean, it was just all about constantly facing your fear and developing that muscle. So where are you on that spectrum? And would it be really good to develop a new belief that you are bold and that you act in spite of fear? And imagine that you have 1,000 Post-it notes on the wall, and they're all with little fears you have. Fears of public speaking, fears of asking for the order, fears of looking silly working out. Your ego wants to protect you and creates a story around that. But every day you took one of those Post-it notes off the wall and you attacked your fears and you dominated and you built confidence. And then when people came in, they're going to see in your body and the way that you carry yourself that you are bold, courageous, braveheart, gladiator, warrior type of ability within you. It doesn't mean you have to be obnoxious or that you have to be an ass, but it does mean that you're confident that you can take action and move forward. Yes or yes. All right. Now, the other thing is that successful people admire other successful people. Would you agree? I remember that there was a long period in my life when I didn't know any better and I was judgmental of successful people. I was envious of successful people. I was uncomfortable of the person who pulled up in the nice car in front of the hotel and got that parking spot, thinking to myself, oh, who is that person? I'm not good enough to even talk to them. And now instead what I do, and that happens, I walk up and I say, hey, congratulations, that's a beautiful car. And then we start talking about the car, or we might start talking about business. And your network is as strong as your net worth is as strong as your network. And maybe I become friends with this person, or maybe we have something in common, or maybe I just pay that person a compliment and make them feel good. When you come to our Mexico event, you're going to stay in multi-million-dollar properties. And one of the things we say is get comfortable with this level of success, right? Admire success. Become comfortable with it. My mother is a money monk. You should know what that is. We teach that. And she frowns on massive wealth and success. But successful people believe in abundance. And if they believe in abundance, it means you can have a beautiful car, a beautiful house. You can have beautiful clothes. You can have an abundance of wealth and the ability to give and create and be. Now, you may give a lot of it away, but you can also, I have a Tesla, and it's a $110,000 car. But you know what? It's good for the economy. I don't burn any gas. So that came from having the ability to do that. I bought my mother a house because I created wealth. These are good things you can do with money. So remember that if you're fearful rather than courageous, you have some beliefs behind that. Again, I don't want to bother people. What if I look like a fool, etc.? So I'm inviting you to look at these different areas as well as admiring wealthy people. Is it possible that somewhere along you looked at a wealthy person, you found that they cheated, cut corners, they were unkind, um, you know, but there's an admiration for people who are bold and fierce and move forward. Would you agree? We may not have to agree with their values, but you can admire the character traits of successful people. And if you do so, then you become a little bit more like those traits that you admire. And people like people that are like them. So let's say you want to become really wealthy, and wealthy people budget really well, and wealthy people talk about money, and wealthy people promote themselves, and wealthy people are bold, and wealthy people, when you're sitting at a restaurant and they order a meal, and they don't get what they want, they ask for what they want, and they get what they want. Being around people like that is going to make you more capable of getting and asking and what you want. Yes or yes. So this is what I really encourage you to do. Successful people are going to take the content in M1 and they're going to do it and practice it and live it. And being around people like that is going to serve you because they act in spite of their fear. And then the last thing is, I would say, compare yourself on the continuum of massively curious to very bitter. Good morning, Carol and Colleen. Great to see you here. And so many other amazing people. And thanks for all your comment postings. And I'll go through some of those after. So, as we're coming to a wrap up, bitter or curious? Bitter or curious? Bitter is, you stopped learning, you know it all, you're frustrated, you're not open. And curious is looking for feedback, asking for better ways. You know, I'm in the process of recording a lot of videos right now for the tribe and for my YouTube channel. And I have a team that looks at them, gives me feedback, and then I redo them. And I constantly say, tell me, did the lighting work? Is the volume good? Because I'm in my studio alone. And then I post it, they look at it, and then they give me feedback, and then I do it again and again and again sometimes. I'm very curious about how the message is being received and how can I do it better. Where are you on that continuum? Look for, where did you get these conclusions of being either judgmental or admiring other people? Being bitter and cynical or curious? Being fearful and hesitant and reluctant, or bold and courageous and taking action? Timid or a promoter? And I am willing to tell you this or say this, is that successful people promote their products. How willing are you willing to be to add that to your identity and to nurture that? They are going to take action in spite of fear. Where are you on that? And are you willing to challenge yourself on that? They're very curious about learning, and therefore they admire and they compliment successful people, and it gets them into the energy. And of course, they're learning based, so they're seeking feedback. They're looking for how their behavior is getting results in life and what they need to change and modify. Brad Rapone came to our Life Design 6 months ago, got some feedback, and you need to speak to him. He had a chronic back pain for like 13 years, no longer has it, lost 25 pounds, transformed individual, and all because he saw a new perspective and he was willing to nurture that and create a new identity. So there you have the essence of today's Rise with Rock, but I have a couple of other announcements for you, and I want to share with you up a couple of things that we're super proud about. Just let me grab them. And so was that useful? Was that good for you? Now your homework assignment is to give yourself a little checkup from the neck up as to where you stand in those things and see, is it worth it for you to develop yourself and to make it part of your identity that you're going to move toward these behaviors and shift some of the programming that were conclusions or beliefs from the past, like I did, so you can become a promoter. You weren't born a promoter. You weren't born a non-promoter. You can become a promoter, and you should become a promoter, and you really would benefit by building that habit and stop being a secret agent of your product or your service. Yes or yes. All right, now, every month we have a chance to recognize people that have stepped up and have really embraced the content and have moved forward. So I want to recognize now people from the Pillar Powerhouse. And the first person is Rolando Archila. I think I said that right. For genuine contribution. For those of you who step up, there's those of you that step up, and there's those of you that frickin' step up. And he's definitely the latter. Since joining M1, he dove deep into the content. It shows up on calls. He's a really great pod mate. He's been always looking for ways to give. So he decided to graciously create visual storyboards with the top 10 rules. How cool is that? I think he's on rule number 4 or rule number 5 now. And how I'm using some of this to redo and create a more succinct way of delivering this content to you guys. So huge thank you to Rolando, and just a beautiful soul. But not only that, many of you don't know that he supports a charity in Guatemala for disadvantaged kids, helping them get out into the world and experiencing what is beyond and helping them dream about what is possible in their lives. So if you don't know Rolando, you need to connect with him because he is the recipient of our contribution pillar for April 2020, genuine contribution. Rolando, congratulations, buddy. You are just a beautiful soul. Now, Agedefying Health, one of my favorite pillars. Raman Velu, who is one of my Tony Robbins brothers, has joined us recently. Running half a marathon is a metaphor for life. Wouldn't you agree? It requires preparation, it requires diligence, it requires effort. And he's such a wonderful example because he prepared to run his first race. And he's been away from the sports for 4 years. He rafted his goal. He leaned up. He strengthened up. He got accountability from his running mate, from his wife, from his pod. And he took massive action. He paid the price of practice in private so he could perform in public. And although there was no official race, he went out and did it himself. So congratulations to Raman for running this half marathon and really, being a role model for Agedefying Health. How many of you know Clement Thomas? He's been with us for a while. And, it's a little corny, but not all superheroes wear a cape. But, if you look at this guy's got one under his shirt. And he's been working with us behind the scenes on helping us with copy and content and stuff like that. But his real passion is helping men understand themselves, be better in their relationships, and developing a relationship course so that men can be more authentic and true to themselves. And he's going to be coming up with something in I guess the coming weeks that you guys should be looking out for. So big thank you for what you do and who you are and for contributing to the tribe as well. And bucket list adventures, check this out. Sometimes you have something on your list, and I remember in 2003 I wrote on my list, I am an author, and it felt so foreign to me. It felt so imposter syndrome and hypocritical. But 3 years later, I published my first book. I also had on there drummer, and it took me a little bit longer, but I recently played drums in a band with a bunch of M1 guys. So writing down your goals and your bucket list adventures doesn't mean that they're going to turn out right away, but eventually they do. So Andrew Lloyd took 2 years from the time he worked on a feature film Inside the Rain until it premiered in New York City and LA last month. But what a ride it was. He has a speaking role and can be seen along actors and actresses we all recognize. So awesome accomplishment. Congratulations. And go get his autograph before, he just ain't going to have the time to give anybody an autograph. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to everybody. And again, really a shout out to all of you for continuing to forge through this coronavirus times. I think it's really exposing who you are, what you have, and how you respond to adversity in life. This is a whole new world we're in for, guys, a whole new brave world. I, for one, am learning to be very conscious of the things that I appreciate, the simplicities of life. And then at the same time, excited about becoming the best version of myself and noticing my own patterns. And I hope that you are too. And this stuff is, in this whole journey of M1, is giving you an opportunity to be the best version of yourself over and over again. We've started these master classes that are fantastic, and we're getting such growth out of them. We're just launching a new one. If you have signed up, please do. I think we announced it yesterday. I'm not sure how many people we have signed up yet. We have a limit, but please, this master class is 4 sessions with me and 20 other people. And this time we're going to go through the wealth mindset of the rich and find out what unconscious beliefs you have that are sabotaging you and holding you back. And when we go through them, I think you're going to be fascinated at the depth that we get, the sharing we do, the breakouts. You're going to meet some new people in the tribe at a high level, and you're going to have a chance to master your wealth identity. So I look forward to you joining me with that. I've got to jump onto right now I start these small pods that I do after every Rise with Rock. If you want to get into that, we do half an hour or 45 minutes or sometimes an hour of question and answer and get to know each other and serve each other. And another great way to have access directly to me if that's something that you want. It's a new initiative we started since the coronavirus as well. So we're constantly adapting and changing and trying to provide you with massive value so you can get yourself where you want to go. In the meantime, congratulations to the success you have, and check out my podcast. And in the meantime, continue to grab a fig and remember that the words that follow I am follow you. So maybe now a good time to add some words like I am bold. I am a massive action taker. Build it into your incantations. Make it part of your morning rituals and build your identity so that you're somebody that's a force for good, a force for God, and that you create success and results in your life that you're proud of. Don't be meek and timid, but be bold, strong, and courageous, and be a promoter of your product and services, not a secret agent, and be the type of person that is proud to overcome your fear, doubt, and worry. God bless. Continue to make it a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the path to success.